espero que nadie se ofenda, pero hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Balcão da área, deu para Yaremchuk, cruzou o Gilberto, que confusão, vai ser o primeiro, tirou para dentro! Marca Darwin, é Benfica, é Benfica, é Benfica! Ele vai atirar! Absolutamente fenomenal da parte de Otamendi, vai errar, fez o alto para o golo, chapelou, tirou para dentro! Voltava o golo do Ribatejano, é Benfica, é Benfica, é Benfica!
Só nós sentimos isso.
Good evening. Welcome. Episode 93, Darwin to the rescue. Who would have thought we would have said that a year ago? Today, we have myself, we have Bill, we have Kenny, we have Oscar, and I realized earlier today that I never introduced myself. I never say my actual name. So the people that actually listen to us and don't watch us probably don't know who I am. So I am Mike, your host, as usual. Bill, Kenny, Oscar joining me today. Gentlemen, how are we?
What is up, boys?
Coming from a win.
2 in a row.
We don't see that often.
It feels good. 2 in
That's
a row.
right.
2 in a row. Today we have, before I start, wherever you're watching, whatever platform you're watching, give us a retweet, a share of this live. Get it out there, see if we can get a few more people here in the live. Those of you watching, leave your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your opinions. Para a malta que esteja a ver em português, esteja à vontade de deixar o vosso comentário, a vossa opinião. Todos percebemos português, por isso podemos abordar a tua questão ou opinião. Não te esquecer que amanhã temos aqui o nosso podcast em português, com um painel diferente, por isso a partir das 21 horas amanhã estaremos aqui de novo. Talk about Benfica 2, Santa Clara 1, a game that once again started off a little rocky, but somehow we managed to come away with 3 points. We will talk about the man of the moment, Darwin Núñez. We'll talk about some of his stats, how it looks this year compared to last year, and get your opinions on should Benfica try their hardest to hold on to him this summer. It's very likely that some of the big boys will come knocking this summer. What do you guys think? Do you think we should keep him? Do you think that if the right price tag comes in, that we should let him go? We'll talk about that. We'll look ahead to Boavista Benfica on Friday. The opportunity to go 1 point back from Sporting and put a little bit of pressure on them going into the next league match. So get your thoughts there. And at the end, which wasn't on our docket, but figured a good exercise. We did it last year. Get your thoughts on the round of 16 of the Champions League. We'll run through who you guys think is going to go through. Obviously, there's 2 games that already happened today. One of them, I think that we all know based on the result who's going to go through. The other one I think is still open, so we'll run through and kind of see who you guys think is going to progress to the next round. So we will start with Carlos Nicolau, boa noite da terra de São Majestade, saudações gloriosas, boa noite Carlos, aí à tarde, Carlos. Obrigado por participar aqui no nosso cantinho. Benfica 2, Santa Clara 1, starting 11, he didn't make any changes from the victory against Tondela, which I think is a sign that the team was doing somewhat close to what he's looking for. Vlaco Dimas in goal, Grimaldo, Vertonghen, Otamendi, Lázaro on the right. Weigl, Paulo Bernardo, Gonçalo Ramos, somewhat of a triangle in the middle, Everton, Darwin, and Rafa. A formation that kind of fluctuates in terms of how we line up without ball, certain phases of the game. I'm going to bring up the highlights here too, and I'm able to show them without getting blocked because it's Benfica's video and not someone else. Sport TV always blocks my videos, and it's a pain in the ass. So we'll watch the videos and highlights here while we talk about it. But a game that I thought we started off okay. We created chances. We didn't take them. Darwin had one. Vertonghen had the shot with his right foot off the post, or that deflected off the post. And then we concede a goal. And once again, the team kind of falls apart. Kenny, I'll start with you.
PK go our way. It is obviously a PK, but the way it was a clumsy tackle. Yep. And so we got lucky there, I think, to get a PK and get something on the board, because I didn't think otherwise we were that much of a threat. I didn't think, we were dangerous, to say, right? So I think that PK helped kind of busts, then there 100%. Are success. But everyone, unfortunately, because of João Felix's and Renato Sanchez, all these kids, the standard is set with those, 5, 6, 7, 8.
But I also disagree on one thing. Is like even without the youth players playing, like say take out Gonçalo Ramos and put Yaremchuk for Gonçalo Ramos, right? Take out Paulo Bernardo and put João Mario for Paulo Bernardo, right?
Yeah.
And we're still sucking. So you sprinkle in a youth player, and we're not going to get better or play awesome because the main team, the team that's supposed to be our 11, is not performing. So like when João Felix started shining, we had players around him, or the team was playing well, and he was able to shine. It benefited João Felix. Right now, the team's sucking. I don't think Gonçalo Ramos shining is even a possibility because the team as a whole is not performing. I think changing the system that we changed with going back to 4 back is going to take some time to adapt and for the players to adapt. Rafa forgot how to play. You know what I mean? There's players out there, like not the youth team, but the players have to basically come together again as a team and perform as a team, and then sprinkle on these youth players and see what they can do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Oscar. I was going to say, Kenny, I think that the impact, I think, of the current situation of the team also dictates a lot of how that happens, right? Because you think about a Paulo Bernardo coming into the team, and say the team's winning, the team's playing well, it's free flowing, everyone's confident around you. That is going to instill confidence in those youth players. With that said, apart from that, right, apart from the collective aspect, I think that from the individual aspect, I still think there's a lot missing there. And I think we talked about it in our group chat, where I felt like, and again, this comes with experience and time, etc. But I felt like every time the ball went through Paulo Bernardo's feet, it slowed the game down, right? His decision-making is delayed. And again, that's natural, right? He's young, big stage. The team's not confident, right? So you're not going to make decisions on the fly as well as you would maybe on the B team, where there's less pressure. The team's gelling, right? Mm-hmm. But on one side, I do think that we overhype it. On the other side, maybe we should also be maybe more cautious on how we sprinkle these kids in the moments that we sprinkle them in, to maybe lessen the pressure on them as well, right? Because they're basically getting tied to a tree and everyone's beating them up with a stick, while the whole team that should be stepping up is letting them down, right? So we're expecting the stars and the moon from these youth kids, right? When the guys that are around them that are making millions and we expect more aren't helping the case either.
I have a good example. Look at Ferro, right? Ferro, when the team was performing and playing really well, you look like you're the next better than Luizão.
I said he was going to be better than Ruben Diaz.
I think a lot of us said he was going to be better than
Ruben Diaz. Just because the team around him was performing, which made him confident, and he looked like a stud. And then when the team started sucking or not performing as well, or lost some pieces, he looked like everything went by him. He looked like he never played soccer in his life. So that's what I'm talking about. The youth is you need, if the team is performing around this youth player, they all look like studs. And I think it benefited João Felix in that sense, because he had the team performing around him, made him look like a stud. And look, you just look at Atletico Madrid right now, he doesn't look like a stud, right? Because Atletico as a team is not performing.
Overall, they have way more talent than Benfica ever.
100%, but they also play a more.
I also think it's a system does not fit João Felix.
Well, let me kind of flip it. Let me flip it on the other side. I mean, so are these guys only good when they play around good players?
That's a valid point too, Kenny.
No,
because I remember
the team can be struggling. The team can struggle all they want, but good players, you'll always see like
they'll stand
bits,
out.
You'll see bits of it, even if they're struggling. Every once in a while, you'll see something, and you can go, "All right, this kid has something there." And I haven't from either of these two. I haven't seen it like
at this level.
When the team had won,
exactly.
when the team won 4 in a row, right? And we didn't invest, and everyone complained that we didn't invest, but they wanted to like continue it down the Seychelles path, right? And the Jedsons, the Fernandes, the Alpha Samir, all those kids during that season, they didn't pan out. Was it because the team? I mean, we just came off 4 in a row. Was it because the team wasn't good enough, or was it because the kids weren't that good or as good as we thought they were? I mean, a lot of the arguments can be said. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like the team, I agree. This team is not that good. I don't want to put too much. That's why I actually believe to keep riding the Paulo Bernardo and Gonçalo Ramos, ride them out and see if anything actually comes out of them. It is a good time to do it, but at some point you also have to look at the eye test. I really don't see Paulo Bernardo. To me, is not a dynamic player. I don't see the it factor in the midfield for him. Gonçalo Ramos, at the end of the day, he's got to score goals, and he struggles to do that. I mean, he has some pretty bad misses already this season. So at the end of the day, they have to either turn it on or, yeah, they're going to be another Nelson Oliveira or all the other busts. I mean, the list goes on with the busts.
And I think when it comes to Gonçalo Ramos, I think Oscar said it, like, if it was any other forward that had this many opportunities, that missed that many chances, like, the fans would be all over him, like, ready to fucking hang him, like get him out of the club, like he's done. But this kid's from the Seychelles, and everyone wants to give him more chances, and he's not having enough time, blah, blah, blah. Like, to me, he's had plenty of time. Like, he's had plenty of time.
He has 31 appearances this season with 3 goals.
He has, what, 3 goals? Yeah.
3 goals, and
2 in the league.
4 goals and 3 assists.
And to be honest, I think striker's probably where you can make the most impact. I mean, it's like Oscar says, black or white. You're either scoring goals or you're not. And if you're not, then yeah, I think you know what you got there.
He has 4 goals in the league. He scored against Marítimo in the 7-1. He scored the second goal in Aroca to make it 2-0. He scored the goal last week or 2 weeks ago against Gil Vicente, and he scored one of the goals against Tondela. So,
he's had plenty of, in my opinion, he's had plenty of opportunity this year, and he's missing clear chances, which is the more concerning thing. Like, your play can suck, but as a striker, when you get in those chances, like, your number one job is to fucking put the ball in the back of the net. And if you're getting in those spots and you can't do it, that's concerning.
He is. I mean, he's a hustler. I don't give that kid does not stop running. I
agree.
He's a guy that presses up high. He's a guy that runs across the field to follow the defenders with the ball, wherever the ball goes. So he's a hustler. But we judge him on goals, right? Because he's a striker.
We did the same with Darwin last year. It didn't matter how many assists he had.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of Gonçalo Ramos and what he can do on the U21 national team because you know he was scoring goals and they play some decent teams, So we see we can do, and maybe he just needs confidence. Maybe he just needs to get surrounded by a few better players and get confidence in Benfica to start scoring. I don't know. We saw the same thing about Nelson Oliveira, and this would happen.
I hope that's the case because he. A lot of people that know him professionally, a lot of his old teammates say that he is very good. But then again, you brought up a good point. Nelson Oliveira, he was part of that Olympic national team, right? That went to the final against Brazil.
Them to the final.
And when you look at that Brazil team and that Portugal team, 95% of that Brazil team are top players. And 99% of that Portuguese team, no one even knows where the hell they are today.
Nelson Oliveira is the only one I can remember from that team.
I don't even know where he's playing anymore.
Yeah,
I think he's in England, second division somewhere, I think. Yeah. Right? So it's just a big thing. Anyone want to Dave's comment here, what age do you guys think is a player's prime? Anyone want
26, 25, 26.
26,
yeah, I would say so.
Between like 26 and like 29.
How do you right, like when you think of like Mbappe, right? He's what, 21? Right? Like, do you think he's only going to hit his prime in 5 years?
No. Some players reach their prime early, right? Mbappe is one of Come on, I'll say fucking say his
Mama,
name.
Mama,
Mbappe.
Mama,
Mbappe.
Mbappe. So he's one that reached there early. Like you showed it today. The guy's a fucking stud, right? But you have most players struggle or to get comfortable or confident until 24, 25, and then they start shining at 26, 27. That's when they hit the prime maturity level and experience level altogether. And at that age, you're like freaks. Yeah, at the age your body is developed.
Still playing.
Yeah, at that age, your body's already developed into a man instead of like a kid that's like hitting the gym just to get some muscle.
And so let me, and I don't know if David's getting to the point where like, oh well, then we have to give them time because they're so young. We need to wait till we get to 26, 20. I don't like that's not how it works, in my opinion. I mean, you can't just like sit on a guy. If we're gonna just wait till he gets to his prime, then he's gonna sit on the B team until he gets to that prime. Or we're gonna give him chances and keep riding out poor performances. And that affects, the A squad in general. Like you have to make an immediate impact. That's it. When you get your shot, you have to take it and you have to make an immediate impact, or else, your career starts off slow and it's not going to get any better. It might, but you're not going to get that many opportunities as a young kid. So if we're going to just wait till they're 26, then they're just going to be sitting on the B team until then. Until they get until there's a spot on the team that might come open or whatever. But like these kids are getting opportunities at a young age. Take it and do the best with it, or else I think you're fucked.
Yeah, and unfortunately, then you run into the issue of like the Florentinos of the world, right? Who they're already older and they don't want to go back to the B team, right? So let me go somewhere else abroad, right? And even if I don't play there, fuck it, I make a lot more money.
And look, exactly. At the end of the day, too, it's a business for Benfica. These kids are there to make money. So if you don't make an immediate impact, we're not going to keep riding you on the A team with poor performances and losing value. We're going to either ship you off or you're going to you're going to get put back on the B team or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, I totally understand what we're doing.
I see what David is saying, though. Like we didn't give or were patient enough with players like Bernardo Silva, right? And we shipped them out early because at that time.
But those are like edge cases, right? Like it's easy for us to look back now and say, right, like was it managed incorrectly? Sure.
Well, but hold on. Can I say something? Let's look at the team at the time. Who's to say that the team at that time, Bernardo Silva goes to the A team, he sees any minutes and becomes the player that he is?
So they were stacked that year.
I get it, but like Gonzalo Ramos, you think right now I'm sure he's ambitious. He's got ambitions on he's not going to be like, okay, I don't want to be in the B team. Either you guys play me, or do I have a chance here to play in the A team, or sell me? At this time, they don't want to wait until they're 25, 26 at Benfica, riding bench or riding the B team to be in at their prime. They want to go, hey, if you guys don't believe in me right now, then send me off. And that
you also have to earn your spot. You're not going to get a spot on a team just because you're from the youth academy.
I know
you're given the opportunity. You have, like Kenny said, you have to grab it and take it.
Yeah, and that's what Ruben Diaz did. Ruben Diaz was given opportunity because somebody got hurt, and he never left it. He got it. He legit went to play. He never lost it again. So, and that's what happened to João Felix too. He came in, and that's it. You're a starter from now on. And I was hoping the same thing from Gonzalo Ramos. I was hoping that he would come in and be, like right now that we have guys like Darwin wasn't performing at the beginning. Yaremchuk is new. Seferovic got hurt. This is opportunity to this is my time to basically gain a spot on this team and stay. And
he started the season as our number one striker.
Yeah.
And he did a lot in the preseason.
Yeah, preseason and those early Champions League games, the qualifiers.
And then he didn't.
So unfortunately, like to answer, I think it was Mark's question, or maybe it was David's. I think it is the standard. I mean, it's the standard that we set for ourselves, that we expect immediate impact from the kids, or else, we move on. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
I think we're also at a big enough club where you have to, right? Like we're at a point where we're not like a developing club, right? Like we're not a Braga or a Guimarães, right? Where it's like, okay, we can give, right? Braga's got a kid, Roger, I think his name is. He's like 17, right? Like they have the opportunity to build it up, right? Like the expectation isn't so high. Benfica goes, 2 years without winning a title. It's like the fucking world's on fire, right? And naturally, right? Our expectation is we want to win titles, right? So you have to balance out like, how much risk do I take with the youth, right? And if shit goes haywire, right? Like, sure, some people will be like, oh, what's the youth? But at the end of the day, people will be like, I don't care if it's the fucking youth, if it's the old guys, we want to win, right? But if things are going well, they're like, yeah, we want the youth, right? But when shit starts to hit the fan, you're like, well, we're not winning. What's going on here?
Yep. And you have to think another thing. Like the youth that we had in the past, that the guys that started shining, like Renato Sanchez and João Felix and all that, they came into a team where they had a guy in their position that could legit teach them. Like João Felix had Jonas, right? That Jonas was there in the same club. Like you look into Jonas, you're like, okay, he is the person I want to be. Basically the level I want to get to. And right now, you look at players like Rafa, you look at players like Gonzalo Ramos, who they looked up to. Like they have. Well, Rafa's already been there and he's done that. But he had Salvio in front of him where he could look up to him, right? But you have Gonzalo Ramos looking at Seferovic. Is that the level you want to reach? Like as a mature player in your position? Like we don't have the example for these players to like listen. I want to be that guy. We don't.
And the guy that's scoring is Darwin, and he's only 2 years older than him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, oh shit, look, two kids learning how to play, maybe learning with each other. It's like almost like somebody starts a new job and nobody gets trained. Like, hey, listen, throw yourself to the wolves, learn how to do it.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. To close out this game, so we can move on to Darwin. Who's your MVP? Kenny, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna give it to Darwin for the game winner.
Goal point rating has him at 6.9. Grimaldo was next with Lazaro at a 6.5. Paulo Bernardo and Tarap, surprisingly, 6.0. Rafa with a 6.3. The lowest score went to Gonzalo Ramos with a 4.3. And Maite got a 4.8. Bill, MVP?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to Darwin. I think the 2 goals, work he does off the wall, I think, well deserved.
Oscar?
Before I say Darwin, because it's going to be Darwin, but I'm going to respond to Mark because I love that question and that comment that he put.
Which one?
The one that says, how much did we love that our beat?
This one?
All right, I'll tell you one thing. So today's game, and obviously this is not a Benfica story, so whatever. But everybody watches the Champions League.
Yeah.
So we watched Bernardo Silva play, Cancelo was playing, and the Sporting fans booed or whistle every time Bernardo touched the ball. You hear whistles, right? You hear like them, like basically it's a Benfica player, and him scoring almost a hat trick, and he could tell that like he was like giving it to them, like hey, tell him a lot. Dude, I kind of giggled. I enjoyed seeing that. Even though I no disrespect. I want Sporting to do well.
No,
did you though? Did you?
I did. I thought they would put up a fight today. I thought they would. I thought
it wasn't putting up a fight. That's the best they could do.
I know, but I thought they would put up a fight. I legit thought it was going to be a 2-1.
I thought it would be closer. I agree. Yeah. At home, I thought it would be closer.
Yeah, away, I'm not expecting anything. But at home, I figured it 2-1 maybe. Dude, they beat Dortmund like. Was it 3-1 or whatever it was, like a 3-0, and I expected something from Sporting a little bit more, and it just didn't happen. And Bernardo Silva was probably one of the biggest reasons.
It just proved
no disrespect.
Just proved the difference in realities between the Portuguese league and the Premier League. Oscar, who's your MVP?
It's Darwin. I mean, he could have had 3-4 goals, but I'll take the 2 that he scored. 50%.
Mark also said, I've never seen a fan base give a standing ovation for 0-5 ass beating. Benfica fans did the exact same thing when Benfica lost at home against Sporting 3-0 when JJ was the coach.
And Bayern this year, when we got smoked by Bayern in the Champions League.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have an uncle who's a Sporting fan, and I remember vividly him saying when Benfica did that against Sporting that he was like, "Eu tinha vergonha, blah, 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 se fossem os meus adeptos." And I can't wait to see him, to ask him what his opinion was of today, which again, me as a fan, I'm not opposed to it, right? I think it shows the team that you're with them. It gives the team confidence, right? You understand the realities are different. But just curious to see if the opinion is still the same given that now the tables have turned and you're on that side and not on the other side. So, but yeah, I don't agree, Mark. We've done it. Benfica has done it in the past at the Stade de Luz. It wasn't 5-0, it was 3-0, but
and Sporting's still fighting for the league. Like they can't just like get on top of their players. Like they got to stay behind them. They still got a lot to play for. So I totally understand it.
Mark says, sorry, I love Benfica more than Papa Six com Manteiga, which means I hate everything Sporting. Thanks for your time. No, I mean, I like Papa Six com Manteiga too. Warm ones, preferably. But no, your opinions are absolutely welcome. And keep giving us your thoughts. We appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in. Segue into our next topic, Darwin's future. So this year, Darwin Nunez has a total of 23 goals, 2 assists, and 28 appearances. 18 goals and 18 appearances in the league, 2 assists. 3 goals and 6 appearances in the Champions League, 2 goals and 2 appearances in the League Cup. When we compare that to last year, Darwin finished with 14 goals and 12 assists and 44 appearances last year. So he already has 9 more goals, less assists, but he's got 9 more goals and almost 1,000 less minutes than he did last year. Right. So significant difference. His assists going down, I think we've talked about it in the past. I think maybe in some way, and Bill touched on it earlier as well, I think in some way shows the level of confidence that he has, right? Last year, he was more likely to give the ball up to someone else. This year, he seems more likely to take it on himself. This year, he has a lot of times been our driving force. Right, with his individual plays. Yes, sometimes he looks like he still has 2 left feet. But at the end of the day, he's probably been our most influential player this year. And just looking at his numbers, in the last 10 games, let me see if this is... So in his last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In his last 7 appearances in the league, he has 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goals in his last 7 league appearances. Right, so like he is confident, he's firing on all cylinders. It's very likely that someone's going to come in for him in the summer. His release clause is 150 mil. The likelihood of us getting that is unlikely. West Ham came in for 55 or 60 plus goal money or objective money, and Benfica said no. We think he's going to give us more. So wanted to get your thoughts on: do you think that Benfica is going to be able to hold on to him, and do you think that Benfica should make an effort to hold on to him, given the impact, given his age, and given hopefully his path of progression, that maybe one more year can really take him to that next level. And who knows, maybe we can have another João Felix type transfer value on the docket. Oscar, I'll start with you.
I think he's obviously going to be only more valuable if you give it a few years, right? But I think it all depends on the project Benfica has set up for next year. It all depends on what Rui Costa has planned for Benfica, what acquisitions they're going to be getting in. Because if it's just a continuation of this year, I think both Darwin and Benfica benefit by him leaving, right? Because it's money in the coffers, and it's not something that we have an excess of. So I think it all depends on the project and the plan that Rui Costa has for this team next year.
If somebody comes knocking with 65 in the summer,
it all depends on the plan. So if Rui Costa thinks, okay, Darwin, you're going to be crucial for this project that we have put in place for next year. You're going to be the guy, our main guy or main driving force in our attack. We're going to get a team around, you and whoever else that they think is crucial on that team. And build a strong team for next year. And next year, you'll guarantee, unless you get hurt, that you're going to be getting a lot more offers, a lot bigger. And I think Darwin will benefit by staying in next year in Portugal, because if he goes to England and he starts not stuck in the first few games, you can see a career going down the drain. Right? We saw with Renato Sanchez, he went too early. Right? So I think it will benefit both Darwin and Benfica to keep him, depending on the project that Benfica has set in place for next year. So I would, at 65, and if the project is good for Darwin and Benfica, I think it's a good idea to keep him.
But I'm asking you, if you don't know what the project is, so right, somebody just says, listen, regardless of what Benfica has going on in the background, if somebody comes knocking on the door for 65 million, you as a fan, would you be happy if you heard that Benfica sold him for 65 million?
No, because
Better question. What's your selling price, Oscar?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
for Darwin.
Yeah.
Right now, somebody.
What's the minimum you'll take? Like not knowing anything else for the future.
Yeah.
What's your minimum you'll take
that you think is realistic based on where he is today and where we can expect him to be?
Here's the thing: like me as a fan, I don't care about the cough, right? I don't care about the money in the bank. To me, that doesn't win me games. Darwin wins me games. Me as a fan, I wouldn't let him go for less than 100 million as a fan, right? But I don't know the reality behind the coffers or behind the admin situation in Benfica. But as a fan, I would not let him go for less than 100.
But I would say, just to your point, right? If Benfica was in financial problems, I think they would have accepted West Ham's offer this January, right? Like I think it was 55 million pounds, and I think it was 15 in objectives, right? So 70 million pounds, right? It's a significant amount of cash, right?
It is, but it's basically suicide when it comes to results.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like if the issue was money, right? I think that they would have pulled the trigger in January and said, "Listen, like we're pretty far back already. Let's take this money and let's maybe put some more onus on Yaremchuk, on Gonçalo Ramos. Maybe we can invest a little bit of it in January if something comes up or we find the right deal. But we need monies, and this is one offer that we can't turn around. I think Benfica saying no, we want to hold on to him because we think he can be more value. At least for me, gives me some assurance that from a financial perspective, that's the least of our worries when it comes to stuff like this. But again, we don't know, right? This is just an assumption on our part. Bill, what do you think? And what's your selling price?
So right now, my selling price would be
now in the sense of we know how many goals and how he's performed now, right? And if we had to take a guess based on what's remaining,
so like in the
season,
summer.
right? Like if he's at 23 goals today, right? I would assume that in all competitions, he'll probably get the 30 goals.
Yeah.
Right. At a minimum, I would assume, unless something goes wrong. But just in terms of where you think he's going to get by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think in the summer, I think a realistic selling price, given what he's been doing and projecting out, I wouldn't go for anything less than 80, 85.
Okay.
I think that's low. Right. I think he could go for more, given goal scorers. Like you pay top dollar for a goal scorer, and if he gets close to that 40 goal range, then that is when you start getting into that 100 mil mark. But I would do everything we could to hold on to him, given that next year is a World Cup year. Players, if he goes to the World Cup, and I think Uruguay is in a pretty good spot to make the World Cup.
It's a good take.
If they get into the World Cup and he stars at the World Cup, then that 100 mil is the low mark. That's where you start. If he has a great World Cup and a good season, you start at 100. Like that's like your low. We could see more than João Felix. We could see like in that 100, the 130, 140, 150. You have no clue. Like
but you're talking gambling. You're gambling because you could not
gambling.
Even start.
You're gambling with anyone's future.
Yeah, but
any young kid's future, you're gambling with it. You're banking. He's been playing. He's been starting in the qualifiers the last few games. So you're kind of banking on he keeps the form up at Benfica.
Yeah.
He's going to have. He hasn't been scoring, but I mean, Uruguay hasn't been scoring a whole lot as a team, and they're an old team. But if he goes to the World Cup,
Cavani and Darwin, and they can't score.
Right. But if he goes to the World Cup and has a good World Cup, then you can sell him for high. If he doesn't have a good World Cup, then you're still, and he has a good season, then where we are right now, we're in that 100 or the 80 to 100 mil range, and you're still making a huge profit on a young player. So I think, given the World Cup and the potential for it to be a huge payday, I think we hold on to him for another season and kind of hope that he has a good season, continues what he's doing now. Next year he plays well, continues to score goals, and then he has a good World Cup, and then your price goes up at that point.
Dave makes a good point here. What if he's a non-factor, similar to what Oscar said?
Yeah.
Like he's been getting called up to the World Cup team or to the national team. They currently are in fourth place. So the top 4 qualify, and then fifth place goes to an interconfederation playoff. They're fourth with 22 points. Peru is fifth with 21, and Chile is sixth with 19. So a 3-point gap between them going direct and not making it all. And they have played 16 of the 18 games. So there's 2 games remaining for them to play. So they're currently in a place to go. So their next games will be Uruguay plays at home against Peru. So that's basically a 6-pointer.
That's a game.
So that's the next game. And then their last game is Uruguay goes to Chile. And Chile's fighting to get into. So there's 2 tough games coming out for them.
Yep. No, I agree. But, I mean, if he's a non-factor of the World Cup, I think we're sitting at the same spot we are right now. Right? Like, he has a good World Cup. His price skyrockets.
Yep.
If he's a non-factor, I don't think it hurts him all that
as long
much.
as he's remaining consistent at Benfica.
At the club. At the club level, if he next season comes in and has another 30-goal season, like we're projecting him to have right now, if he has another 30-goal season, I think we're sitting in the same spot we are right now next year. If he has a good World Cup, that price skyrockets, I think. So I think the potential to make a huge payday with the World Cup is enough incentive to try to hold on to him for another season.
Okay. Kenny, before I pass it to you, I want to just give a shout out here to Joaquin. Say hi to Joaquin, who's been in the chat. Eduindo de Moura. Good evening, my friend. And I guess I'll give this question to you guys as well. Dave says, can anyone give me
that's funny.
A comparison of a striker similar age with similar value? So Kenny, I'll let you take that first.
Well, it's funny because I wouldn't be able to give you a comparable, but I was going to bring that up because I think I don't see, despite all the goals, I don't see Darwin as a pure out-and-out striker. He loves to float a lot to that left side. So he's kind of a weird player. I was going to ask you guys the same type of, like, if what your thoughts on his style of play is, because I don't see him as an automatic striker. Like, I don't see him as a Jonas.
But let me ask you this, right? You don't see him as an automatic striker. When I think of Darwin and how he likes to play, and the name that I'm going to throw out there, don't take it like I'm comparing them from a skill. I'm not comparing them from a skill level. I'm comparing them from a movement perspective, the occupancy of space. Mbappe is not an out-and-out striker. But for me, he reminds me a lot of Darwin in the sense of he likes to play wide. He likes to come inside. He's got pace. He obviously doesn't have the strength. Obviously, he's more technical. But that's, from a comparison perspective, I would compare him to him in the sense of the movement and the occupancy of space. Again, I'm not comparing them in terms of skill, in terms of levels, completely different. But that's would be my comparison from a positional perspective and an occupancy of space. But I don't know if you guys share.
Well, if you look at it, like, young strikers or young forwards that are like putting up these numbers and have these huge release clauses, like you have Haaland, which is they're rumored to be 150 mil, whatever his release clause is, and then Mbappe, and I can't think of many other like young strikers or forwards that have that like. Well, they have like the Darwin, like the Darwin build. Like Darwin's a big dude,
Vlahovic
big
is a
build.
big dude.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He's an out-and-out striker, though.
Right, exactly. But he just went in the January transfer window for what?
75.
70? And that's in January, which you never fucking see that type of money flowing around. So I think, like, Darwin is in that type of realm, I think, right now.
But what worries me with Darwin is, and I know he's on a hot streak right now, is, like, his way of playing, he could easily go dry. He can go 5 games without scoring a goal, I feel like. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Yeah, he's on a hot streak right now, and he's scored a lot this year. But what worries me is, like, he could go dry just because he's not an out-and-out striker. He's a forward. He's not a winger, but he loves to, like, kind of, like Mike said, float to that left side and then come in. And he's not always in the box. And I mean, he's found himself in the right spot to score goals this year. But I can absolutely see him go on, like, a complete dry spell and just kill his value, right? So yeah, I understand, like, we have to have, like, where's your selling price? But you, like someone else mentioned in the comments, like, what if he completely goes dry or he doesn't make the World Cup squad? Now his value drops, and you had a chance to get rid of him and you didn't. And to me, that's where the risk is, right? Because I don't think he's an automatic, like, guaranteed goal scorer, like top-notch player. And I like the kid and I've defended the kid, but he is he's got that clumsy feel to him. So that's what worries me. But I do agree that if things kind of keep projecting as they are, right? He's a 30-goal scorer this year. He gets into, they get into the World Cup. He doesn't even have to like really do well in the World Cup. I think just being there just ups his value. I think what comes down to next year, whether he's remains on the team or not, might depend on whether we get into Champions League. Similar to Ruben Dias, how the situation that happened with him, I think we could have a similar situation where, like, if we don't qualify, we might have to sell, and he might be one of those guys that we kind of just have to cut ties with. I think there's a lot of leverage on his side where I do think and Oscar might laugh at this, right? I think he does have some passion for being here. And I think I'm sorry, but I think it means something, even if it's a little piece of the puzzle. I think he likes being here. But if we're not in Champions League, I think he's also going to have to check out his options, and he might have a lot to say with whether he stays or not. So I agree. I don't think at this point in time, especially if he's a 30-goal scorer, 100 million minimum, but you do kind of risk, his value decreasing if, like, let's say he doesn't get into Champions League. Into the World Cup. Let's say you miss the Champions League. Well, you just lose all the leverage there, and you might be forced to sell for a lot cheaper.
But I think with the Ruben Dias thing, like, we missed out on Champions League that year, and we weren't in it the year before. Like, there was money being missed from the year prior. This year, we made Champions League. We got out of the group. Like, we
had lost money because of the whole pandemic as well.
Right. Like, we've made a good chunk of change this season on Champions League already.
What's Darwin's contract even? I don't even know what it is, but I think he has a lot to say too.
2025.
His
contract, I think he signed like a 5-year deal.
Hold on. His contract is up in... I just had it up here. He is in contract, until June 30th, 2025.
How old is Darwin? 22?
22. He'll be 23 in June.
Here's there's the two guys that I think is closer to Darwin that I think, right? At this age, 22 years old. There's actually the guy that got transferred to Juventus now, the striker,
Vlahovic.
Yeah.
Vlahovic.
Yeah, that guy, he's a big body, and he reminds me of Darwin. And the other guy that's playing with Mourinho, Zaniolo, also a big body, that young guy that has a presence. And then I think he's a mix of those guys. And I think, to be honest with you, because he's to me, he's like a fast winger type of striker that plays in there, right? Is like a Vinicius. Like, he's got the pace, and he takes players on. And then he's got the big body like a Zaniolo or the Juventus striker. That's my comparisons to. And they're both young. They're all young, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing in the future is these guys going forward.
Before we say anything else, boa noite, Carlos. Obrigado e boa noite para ti. I agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for Benfica to make significant amount of money. But then again, like, we also haven't talked about the fact that if he has a good 2 games against Ajax, right, like, that puts him at a different level.
Again, if he shows up next week and somehow
worst case
puts us through that fucking. Again, we're at the 100 mil mark right there. Like,
but then again, we also take a massive cash injection of making it through the next round, right? Like, and we'll talk about that later in the last topic here. Kenny, go ahead.
We've talked about this too. Worst case is we get into that final year of the contract, and clubs already know that he's going to be off contract, and we're not able to renew, and he walks away for free.
But we're a long way.
We're a long way from there.
It's not like it's next year.
There's no way.
I mean, you can't just assume 2025. You got to start. I mean, 2024 is the final year. If you're a team and you say you have an agreement with them in 2024, we'll just wait you out and we'll pick you up.
He would not. Darwin himself would not waste his career like that. That's waiting for 3 years for him.
I don't see him being. The furthest I see him being at Benfica is one more season.
I think if we can hold him for next year, I think that'll be.
Yeah, I think that's the max. Given his age and his potential, I don't. And I personally think that he's going to be gone this summer. I just think someone's going to knock on the door with enough cash that it's going to be one of those deals that we can't turn away, regardless of how influential he is.
It depends. It all depends on Rui Costa. I think Rui Costa puts a good project together. It could convince him to stay an extra year, knowing that he can get convinced that it'll be for double the value that he is currently. If he thinks 50 million is good right now, next year it could be 100 million easy. So if Darwin thinks like that, and instead of just like what they offer me now, I think we'll keep him for next year. But all depends on Rui Costa and what team he puts together for next year.
Dave says Darwin for Benfica is like Marcus Edwards for Vitória. Since the minute they arrived, both clubs only have looked to sell. I don't entirely disagree with that. I think that Darwin's agent has done a lot of talking in the media, whether it's legitimate or not, about how clubs are interested. There are clubs that have, at least we know for sure that West Ham has definitely made an offer. There has been talks about Manchester City was kind of looking in the waters. Barcelona was another one. Whether there's value to that or truth to that, we don't know. But I think if Benfica was a club that was looking to sell him, again, I think they would have pulled the trigger given the numbers that came in January. Again, that's just my opinion.
You can also say that about any young player that comes into one of the top three, right? Like Benfica, you could say that to anyone. Like we only bought them to be able to sell them for a profit later on. Well, at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's what we are. Like we can't hold on to these players. Like as much as we want João Felix to stay to Benfica, 125 million, we can't fucking turn that down.
Maybe they'll loan him back to us.
Yeah.
Hey, we totally forgot about this play, guys. But Marcus Rashford is absolutely a Darwin.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so? I think 100%. He started off as a striker. They moved him out to the left because he's got speed. He's only 24 years old, Marcus Rashford. Obviously 2 years older, but at the age of 22, Marcus Rashford had the same exact idea of playing as Darwin has now. So I see it.
I think he was more confident. I think he was more of a Rashford. I think he was more of a confident player than. I mean, you had Marcus Rashford taking a decisive penalty at Parc des Princes against PSG to get them to win in the 91st minute or something like that. I mean, if that's not confidence in a player at that age, then I don't know what the fuck.
I get the confidence, but look at him now. Now he doesn't. It's not even like
he fell off. Yeah,
he fell off.
And that's the risk you run. That's the risk you run with Darwin.
100%. To me, that's what I compare him to. I see that kind of potential, and then I can see a fall as well.
That's true. And I mean, Rashford was one of those guys that everyone really talked up a lot. Him and Greenwood, right? Like those are the two next best things, right? And one of them fucked himself up, and Rashford has dropped off significantly, but he's young enough still to hopefully maybe turn things around for himself. Antonio da Silva says, what do you guys think of Jota on loan to Celtic? He's having a good season. The rumor, so Celtic has the option to buy him. I believe it's for 6.5 million.
That's a no-brainer.
But rumor is that Benfica is working to give him an extension of contract, which I'm assuming is going to come with a pay increase and some sort of plan as to what your involvement is going to be next year. Do you guys think that would be a good idea based on how he's doing in Scotland? Or do you think it would be best to cut ties with him?
I can take on that. I think Jota's closer to João Felix than Gonçalo Ramos player wise. Like I see Jota being more like a player that can take the ball and take players on.
He's more dynamic than
if you're giving Gonçalo Ramos a chance, I think Jota deserves a chance too. And Jota it was here at a time where there was a lot of good players ahead of him, and he didn't have he had to either shine or leave, right? Gonçalo Ramos doesn't have that issue, and he's still not shining. So I think Jota deserves to especially now he has the chances in that Celtic. And he's performing. He can, in Scotland league is not that much off from Portuguese league.
I disagree with that.
I don't know. You think Rangers? You think Celtic?
Yeah, but name me three other Scottish teams.
And you ask,
there's a huge.
And you ask them.
There's a huge drop off.
No way. There's a huge drop off.
Dude, ask a Scottish person to name you other than Benfica, Porto Sport, and another Portuguese league team.
Most people in Europe will know.
They'll probably know Braga, Vitória.
Oscar was a Celtic fan before Celtic was
This pequeno.
Celtic or Celtics?
É por isso que eu falo muito do Sporting, são muito conhecidos.
Yeah, there you go. It's the same colors. What do you guys think, Bill, Kenny? What do you think about the shut deal?
I think I've seen I saw the game against Rangers and I've seen a few highlights. He's looked good, and I mean they seem to love him over there. And I mean 6.5 in today's market is low, right? So like again, the risk reward, you bring him back, you don't take that 6.5, give him a little pay increase. He comes back. If he shines, you maybe sell him off for a huge profit, and you get some titles. Is the titles while he's no, it's like hypothetical. Yeah. If they're that's the clause. Like so, if they want him, they say 6.5, and then it's up to the player to decide. Correct. Yep.
Oh, so wait. So is it? I don't get this. So Celtic shows up with 6.5.
They don't have
can't
to
say nothing.
Benfica can't say no or yes,
but Benfica can offer him. No. He's still Benfica's player. Benfica can say, "Listen, we'll give you X." Right? It's basically like saying, if you want him, this is your set price. But then he has to say, yes, I want to go.
The player has the final say.
Benfica can also say, listen, you can go if you would like. That's the set price, but we'll offer you this as well. And then he makes that decision. Okay. So ultimately, the player has the last say at the end of the day, right? If he wants to go back. And just for Kenny, before I get your opinion, Jota has 26 appearances for Celtic this year, 10 goals, 9 assists. He's got 7 goals in 17 games in the Premiership, 2 goals and 5 appearances in the Europa League, and 2 appearances with 1 goal in the League Cup. He's got 6 assists in the Premiership. He's got 1 in the Scottish FA Cup and 2 in Europa League.
Is he like a pretty consistent starter now, or?
So looking at...
He goes on and off.
So he started off the season. So in the season, he has started 14 of 17 games. He went a spell from the beginning of December until the end of December where he wasn't in the squad. Doesn't look like he was injured. He just wasn't in the squad. And then in the last 6 games, he's averaged anywhere between... He had 8 minutes in one, and then the others he was, 62, 45, 87, 27, and 90. So it's been spread. I think he was more consistently playing regularly at the beginning of the season.
They're also running away with the league at this point.
He had most of his goals at the beginning of the season as well. In his last 2, 4, 6 games, he's got 2 goals.
Yeah, against Aberdeen.
So he got Aberdeen too. Yeah.
So I think, I'm not going to sit here and lie that I've watched the games, or I've seen a couple of highlights, but just like they're just goals, right? So I don't really know. But if he's getting minutes, my opinion is that league there, it's definitely more physical, right? So if it helps him in that sense, I think that he's probably developed into a stronger player. I would assume, especially if he's getting minutes. A $6 million or $6.5 million buyout clause just kind of shows what Benfica initially thought of him. I don't think they thought much of him. Has that, has this one loan season changed that price dramatically? Whether you make $6.5 million or $10 million, is it really going to make that big of a difference? If, you want him back on the team, is he just going to sit on the squad? I agree with Oscar. I think it has to do with what the plan is next year. If he's just going to come back and be a third option, then what's the point? But if he's going to come back and is he going to battle who, like Everton? Is he going to be able to?
That's what I was just going to say. If he comes back, he normally plays on the wing. He's not striker, right? So he's got to compete with Darwin, most likely, Everton, Rafa.
If that's the case, if I'm the player, I'm not coming back. But has his value increased that much more? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it to us. And again, it just goes. I think a lot of us fall in love, or these questions come up because we fall in love with, but he's a Seychelles kid. Should we give him another chance? I'm okay if these guys go and make their career somewhere else. It is what it is. At this point, I agree with Oscar. Let's find out who the coach is, what the plan is. If the coach feels like he could be a second option, then bring him back. But if he's gonna fight with Everton, Rafa. Like that's a lot to compete with.
I think he's more of like a Darwin position. He's like a top 3, like on the sides, right? So he's not a guy like that can.
And he likes to operate on the left.
Right. So it's like a Darwin exact position. So if the plan is maybe we lose Darwin, yeah, bring Jota back as right. But if our plan is, and
what if the plan is to get rid of the Masapodre and get rid of Rafa?
Huh?
Who?
Saying,
He's already gone.
No, he said Rafa.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Rafa.
What if the plan is
but
to
he
get
operates.
Rafa?
He operates on the left though. Jota's more play on the left, and Darwin doesn't operate on the right either.
Jota ain't replacing Rafa. To be,
he's not. But what I'm trying to say is that it all depends on what the plan is for the current team that we have right now. If maybe the plan is, listen, Yaremchuk is not going to be a player that we can trust for the future. Seferovic is not going to be a player we trust for the future. And then maybe bring these guys back. I don't know. It all depends on what this off season brings to Benfica and what Rui Costa hasn't planned for them.
Fair. Good question, Tony. All right, so we have our selling price here. Some say 80, some say 100. I'm of the opinion of at least 100. I'm of the opinion that if he continues to play the way he is, I think we will get an offer of 100 million this summer. So time will tell. Hopefully there's no injuries and he can get us maybe at least 30 goals this year. Before we do the predictions for Boavista, I wanted to run through the Champions League games and just kind of get everyone's thoughts here. I'll bring up the games on the screen and we'll just run through and see who you think is going to progress. So let me see. Do I need to make this bigger?
So Man City.
Yeah.
All right, so we got them all on the screen here. All right, so City, right? I think we all knew that how it was going to play out. PSG, Real Madrid. PSG won today at home against Real Madrid.
I wonder where your cousin is, by the way. I know he's usually on the chat.
Yeah,
very quiet.
Some people ask where did you guys have a pod today? Did you have a pod today? We're here, guys. In case you missed us, we do have a pod today. We do.
I
think that's a direct shot at our friend Paulo Pereira.
Away goals. I haven't seen his name pop up, so he might not be watching.
No,
away goals don't matter anymore. What do you guys think? Kenny, I'll start with you since you're on the top here. Who do you think is going to go through in this?
All right. I have to blow this up a little bit because bang. All right. So you have to go with me, right? So I'll go with City. I actually think Madrid will turn it around.
All right, we're going to go one by one. One by one. Hold on.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
All right. So you're saying Real Madrid goes through over PSG?
Yeah.
Okay, Bill, what do you think of that game? This is a biased opinion because you're a Real Madrid fan.
I know.
But I didn't watch the game, but I also saw that people were saying that PSG was all over.
PSG dominated the game, and I forget who it was at halftime. It might have been Henry or maybe Jamie Carragher made the comment of like, since UEFA got rid of the away goals rule, like, yeah, and it made sense because Real was sitting deep, knowing that they didn't need to like press to try to get the away goal. Like, if they could get the draw, the 0-0 there, then they can go home and try to squeak out a win. But I think that PSG squad has too much firepower. I think PSG goes through.
Oscar, you agree?
I agree. PSG.
All right, so we got one Real Madrid, two PSGs. I think PSG goes through as well. I think there's way too much talent there. But then again, they've also shown that they're very capable of underperforming. So
like Barcelona, when they won like 4-1 and then they lost.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
All right, so starting at the top here, we got everyone City. We got a split. We got one Real Madrid, 3 PSG. Salzburg, Bayern. I'll start at the bottom. Oscar.
Bayern.
Bill.
Yeah, Bayern.
Kenny.
Bayern.
Okay. I think this one will have some different opinions here. Inter, Liverpool. Kenny.
I haven't seen Inter. Inter's in like first place, right?
Second, I believe. AC Milan's in
I think
first.
Milan's
if I'm
in
not
first.
mistaken.
I'll go Liverpool.
Okay, Liverpool. Inter's in second, 1 point back of Milan, but they have a game in hand. All right, so Kenny says Liverpool. Bill?
Yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool.
Oscar?
See, I would go normally Liverpool, But I have a feeling Inter's going to pull it through the Italian style soccer.
All right, so Oscar's going with Inter. I'm going to go Liverpool. I think they're just way too talented, too experienced to
those
let off.
front players they have. I mean, it's not just the front three anymore. Like, it's not just Mane
and they got a more experienced manager.
Yeah,
Inzaghi.
So much.
Yeah. So we got another split. We got 3-1 in this one. Chelsea, Lille. Bill, I'm going to start with you since you're a plastic fan. I mean, Chelsea fan. Sorry, I'm Chelsea.
Chelsea goes through.
Oh,
Easily.
surprise.
Easily.
Oh, here we go. Like they were going to beat Al Ali or Al Ali.
Hey, world champs, okay?
Oh, my God. Shut up. Oscar.
I think Chelsea will go through.
Kenny?
I fucking hate Chelsea, so I'm going to say Lille. Fucking hate Chelsea.
Yes. I would love for Chelsea to bow out.
And then, by the way, for the record, I've been a Lille fan since like a little baby.
Yeah,
Renato Sanchez is there.
I can confirm that too. Zef1 too. He's a big Zef1.
Zef1.
Yeah.
Villarreal, Juventus. Oscar.
Tough game. But I think Juventus will go through.
Bill?
I think Villarreal with the upset.
Ooh.
Kenny?
I'm going to go Juventus.
I'm going to go Villarreal here as well. Unai Emery, when it comes to European competitions, he's fucking tough nut to break.
These Spanish teams, dude.
I don't know what it is.
Like not top 3 Spanish teams, but like these lower tier ones. They fucking get their way through. And Juve hasn't looked impressive all season.
I'm going to leave us for last. Atleti, Man United. Oscar, I'm going to start with you since you're a United fan.
And then you're gonna start with the good. You're gonna start with Cantinho Benfica. Okay, love it. All right, here is a tough because we have Ronaldo on one side, you have Joao on the other, and they're both sucking right now. Meaning both Atletico and Manchester United. But man, United, Ronaldo owns Atletico Madrid, so I'm gonna go United.
Okay, Bill.
I mean, I agree. Ronaldo is Mr. Champions League. He just, especially against Atletico, like somehow just pulls these performances out of fucking nowhere. Both teams aren't playing well. I think Ronaldo is the deciding factor in it.
Kenny?
Oh, man, this one's a tough one. Dude, Man U struggled a lot, and I don't like that new coach. I think there's, similar to Benfica, there's a lot of, like, locker room issues. I'll go the other way. I'll go Atleti.
I agree. I think Atleti is going to pull it off. I watch them. I don't watch them very often. I watched them this weekend, and they were down a man in a fucking crazy game. I don't remember who it was against, but they managed to win and the death.
That's a nice assist by Joao.
The header. Yeah.
If you went coach for coach, like who do you think? I mean, Simeone's not a bad.
I mean, Simeone for me all day.
Coach by coach,
all day, right? I mean, even tactically, Champions League. I feel like.
And
they've been struggling big time.
I know.
They have. But I mean, Man United's also struggled as well, right? Like, I don't know. I think Man United's more capable of scoring goals, but I also think Man United's also more capable of conceding goals, whereas Atleti's normally pretty buttoned up.
What's happened with Griezmann? Is he hurt?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
He hasn't been playing at all. He hasn't been playing at all.
He didn't play.
I think we're like this game, like Ronaldo 2 years ago. I'd be like, that's a difference maker. I'm going Man U, but I don't see that.
It's the Champions League. No matter how much this guy fucking struggles,
I know.
He shows up for these moments.
He is injured, Oscar. He's got a muscle injury.
Just look and, the last few games,
like we say for Benfica, until they prove me wrong, right? I'm gonna keep going that, and until Ronaldo does not show up in Champions League, I'm going to keep – you got to keep betting on the guy because it seems like every fucking moment like this, he just shows up and especially against Atletico Madrid, like he fucking carries them.
Just look up Atletico Madrid on football or whatever it is. And the last 20 games, they lost so many fucking games.
Yeah, they've been very
insane.
Yeah. But, I mean, Man United hasn't been much better.
I mean, yeah.
But also in a much more competitive league, in my opinion. So we have a split there, 2-2. And last but not least, Benfica Ajax. Kenny, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is going to come of this?
I'm gonna go with Ajax, and I'm gonna expect the worst and maybe
Hope
be
for the best.
surprised by the best. So yeah, Ajax.
He's going reverse psychology here. Bill.
Yeah, as much as my heart wants to say Benfica, I think I shared it in our group text. I saw a stat. They had like Ajax has scored like 110 goals and conceded 10 all season. Like that's just absurd. And I think we're in for.
I would also argue that their league isn't very good either, but
right. But I mean that also includes Champions League, which they've bossed in the group stage. I think I think Ajax. I think we laughed today at Sparting. I think we might be in for the same type of shit next week.
And they crushed Sparting too, right? In the
first one was 5-1. I don't remember what the second one. I know they lost in the second one.
I think it was 4-2. I have here written 4-2, but I don't know if it was that game.
It was.
The second game Ajax already qualified. I think they.
Yeah, it was the last game.
Yeah,
last game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Sparting beat Dortmund the second to last game.
Yep.
They got some good, like, I think difference makers on that team. That Anthony guy is really good.
And Haller scoring goals left and right.
Haller, Tadic, and
when Haller was in England, he wasn't really doing shit, and all of a sudden he goes to Ajax and he's scoring goals for fun. Oscar, so we got 2 Ajax. What are you thinking?
Man, I know my heart tells me that I'm stupid and that and I want to believe something that's not going to happen.
We can agree with your heart.
But I'm going to go with Benfica passing this thing, and I tell you because even the year that Ajax went to the semifinals, Benfica played them, and we outplayed them, and like legit, they beat us 1-0, and then we tied 1-1, but we outplayed them. We should have won both those games, and I'm gonna go with Benfica knows how to play Ajax. That's it. Fuck it.
With Verissimo and
I don't give a shit.
If we all agreed on Ajax and then Benfica passed through, we could all just go down that same route. Like, go play against them, and they'll continue down.
I'm divided here. I think that I'm hopeful that the fact that it's a Champions League game brings a different other element of motivation, a different element of confidence for these players, right? Like, while the league is nearly impossible, this is really the only other stage that they have left to really like show some dignity and some pride and to be able to make an impact. I think that at home we will get a result. And I think away it'll be extremely tough. But fuck it. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to go with Oscar here, and I'm going to split the middle here. I'm going to go with
you
Benfica.
2 next week. Vai para a igreja, vai 10 ou 20 Ave Marias.
I'm with you guys. I'm power to you guys. But
listen, I'm riding. Me and Oscar on the 2-seater Corvette. Cruising.
You know what happened with that when you were driving last time? You know what
I'm not driving. Oscar's driving this time.
I mean,
see now
that's much better.
Every time Mike goes with a score, I know he's gonna get it wrong. So I'm fucked.
No, Oscar's like, fuck, I wish you went first, so I wouldn't agree.
Know. Anything Mike says, I'll go the opposite.
It is a Benfica podcast anyway, so it's good that you guys are on board.
Yeah, we need to we're gonna break the trend, Oscar. We're gonna break the trend.
The realist.
Yeah,
it's because you're driving the Corvette is going to be the difference. I'm not driving this time. To finish off, predictions for Boavista. Boavista is currently
they have
12th,
3 wins.
12th place. They have 3 wins. They are 2 points clear of the relegation playoff. Petit
tie everything.
Has them playing better. From their last 5 games, they've managed 4 draws and 1 loss. Score 6 goals, 7 conceded. They don't score very many. They don't concede very many. We played against them recently in the Taça Liga. We also played against them without Darwin, without Otamendi, and without Rafa. But a game that we struggled against them. We see what they're capable of. Hopefully having those 3 back in the squad will make a big difference for us. A big game. Again, we get the opportunity to put some pressure on Sporting. ahead of their game, so they can go into their game with 1 point back. Also, don't forget that they're going to be missing quite a few players given the suspensions that were dished out today.
I thought only Padinha got suspended.
Pedinha got suspended. Tabata is automatically suspended for 2 games until they come out with the final decision. And then, what else can come from that. But we know how Portugal functions, so who knows how long it's going to take and whatever.
Suspended. Is he finally going to get suspended for the 5th yellow
from last year?
Yeah.
This is from last year.
He got suspended 3 games, which I think is interesting. But nonetheless, so big game. So I'm going to ask you guys your opinion on the result. And quickly, would you field our strongest squad, or would you make some rotations with Ajax in mind on Wednesday? Bill?
I think we have. Yeah, we have. I think we have to go with our strongest squad. I don't think we can look to rest. We play Saturday?
Friday.
Dude, you have plenty of time between.
We play games. We play at Stade Boavista Friday, and then we play at home on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it's plenty of time. I think you go with our strongest squad, and I think we win 2-1.
All right, another 2-1 result. Oscar?
I think we definitely go with our strongest squad. I mean, we play Friday. We play the next game is Wednesday. It's like almost a whole week in between. So the whole squad, and I think it'll be a 3-1 win.
Okay. Any?
Yeah, I think we have to go strong squad the rest of the way. I don't think there should be any excuses as to why we would be saving players for anything at this point in time. And I think we will. I say we're gonna do 2-0.
Okay. You have the right to change your picks before kickoff as usual. Do I ride Kenny's hot wave, or do I go with something different? We should have had Kenny go first to see if you guys ride the wave with him or if you change your minds. I'm going to go 2-1. This team is incapable of keeping a clean sheet, it seems. So maybe we'll start the game down 1-0 automatically just to get that goal.
I feel like something will pop up.
We are home, right?
Something.
Away. We're away.
Oh, we are away.
Are you going to change your mind?
I might change mine.
Oh. Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go.
Benfica will get woken up at 3 a.m. with some fireworks and some shit.
I'm going to go 2-1 for Benfica in this game. Gentlemen, anything else that we wanted to cover that we didn't cover in this conversation today? We got 5 minutes left. Anything that you guys wanted to touch on?
Yes, sure. I want to give a shout out to Pizadan.
Oh boy,
because
I knew that was coming.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
he was fucking coming.
He went to Istanbul.
Did you figure out the name of the team yet?
Instagram.
Figure out the name of the team.
Yeah, Istanbul, Besak Kasahir.
It's Bazak Shakir.
Yeah. He
already.
Yeah.
He played 76 minutes, man of the match, scored a goal. So peasy.
Yeah, there you go.
His jersey's in the mailbox.
Don't worry about it. All I know is that let's keep watching him. He's gonna come back stronger than ever.
The S is before the N. Istanbul, not Istanbul.
Istanbul.
Oh my god!
The team's owned by Instagram.
I'm gonna clip that section right there. Istanbul.
Hey, congrats to him. I'm proud.
It's a good start.
And I sent him an Instagram message.
Of course you did. Did he respond?
No, motherfucker didn't even read it.
Bill, Kenny, anything else that you guys wanted to add?
I think Jan Vertonghen should be our starting striker.
He's had a couple of chances in the last couple of weeks.
His footwork on that one
I think that was a mistake. I think he just got carried away.
I don't know, dude. It looked pretty clean to me, but he's had a few good runs up top.
If he can put one in, I'll be okay with it. I don't care how he puts it in. Kenny, anything else you wanted to add? Or are we good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I am all set.
No props to Pizzi? No, not. Okay.
I mean, it's a Turkish league, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Scottish league isn't that bad either, and For those of you who are in the chat, thank you for joining the conversation. Don't forget to give us a like, give us a share, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also listen to us in the audio format, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, etc. So don't forget to give us a like, share. There were quite a few watching, but again, some shy people who don't want to join the conversation. That's fine. We will be back next Monday. Our normal day is for Mondays, but since yesterday was the day of the romantics, I actually said, let's do the podcast on Monday. And then I remembered that, oh shit, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So I had to change it. So we'll be back next week to preview the Ajax match and to look at what happened at Stadio do Bessa on Friday. We'll be back tomorrow with the Portuguese podcast and the other group of guys to talk about some more Benfica and what their thoughts were on the game against Santa Clara and what their prediction is for the game against Boavista. Gentlemen, thank you for a good conversation once again. We will chat next week. And of course, Viva Benfica.
Viva Benfica.
Viva. Good night, boys.